So I quit my cushiony work from home job in Canada, left everything, and moved to Japan. Here's why. Here's how I did it and why I did it. I was working for a bank in Canada and I made a pretty decent salary. I couldn't afford to leave my parents' house. I was still living in my parents' basement. To me, that was pretty crazy. And I knew something was wrong with the country. And I was looking for other opportunities. I discovered a program between Canada and Japan called the Working Holiday Visa Program. So it's been 1 month since I've been in Japan, and let's talk about what I learned in a month and what you can expect if you're coming to Japan. And we'll take a look at some of the pros and cons first. But just before that, let's do the channel intro. If you're new here, like and subscribe. If you're returning, I'm sure you saw that I did Canadian content before, and now I'm doing Japanese content. And that's going to be the future of this channel for a while anyways, while I'm in Japan. My next video I have planned is a famous Japanese singer that recently got popular on TikTok because of Japanese city pop videos, Miki Matsubara. And so that's the next video. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe. So some of the pros and cons after living in Japan for 1 month. So I'm living in Tokyo, a little bit west of Tokyo, and I have to take the rush hour train every morning to school. And I'm on the busiest line, the busiest train line. So if you've seen videos of like the Japanese train conductors shoving people, like pushing people onto the train, that's me. That's where I am every morning. And there's different types of train lines. So you have the express, the semi-express, and the local. And that's just how many stops it's gonna stop at. And so I want the express one when I'm going to school. I only need to stop at the big station where my school is at. So it's the most convenient. And that train just so happens to be fully packed. Even by the time it gets to my station, it's already full. And so I have to like squeeze in there and get pushed by the conductors. And so that's kind of an interesting, not so fun experience. I learned that everyone wears their backpacks in front of them on the rush hour train. So it kind of gives you that little bit of, a tiny little bit of space. So that's a con. A pro, of course, the food. I can't make a Japan video without talking about the food, but one of the things that surprised me were the snacks and like desserts. I don't know if you know what mochi is, but this is mochi. It came in like a little packet, and then you sprinkle some cocaine on it like this, and it makes it even tastier. So I don't know if you can see it here, but I sprinkled some cocaine on the mochi. It is delectable. It is amazing. So when I was just visiting Japan, I didn't have a chance to try like all the, I don't know, even like grocery store snacks and things like that, maybe I wanted to try, but I didn't have the time to. Now I get to, and it's amazing. And everything is so cheap here as well. So the next pro that I'm going to say is the grocery store food is incredibly cheap in terms of meat, snacks, bread, ice cream, dairy. All of those things are very, very cheap here. About half the price of what I'd pay in Canada, sometimes even less. I found like pork shoulder for 88 cents Canadian, which is impossible to see in Canada. The portion was a little bit smaller, but it's still in Canada that would have been like at least $5. So to get it for less than $1 was mind-blowing. One of the cons though for the grocery store is that it's actually, some things are more expensive than Canada and America. And that would be fruit. Usually I would eat an apple a day in Canada. That was my breakfast, was an apple. And it's expensive in Japan. I'm trying to think of the prices. Maybe 2 apples. 2 apples is like $4 in Canadian dollars in Japan. Versus like Canada, you can get a bag of apples for like, a bag of like 6 apples for $3. In Japan, 6 apples would be like $12. So fruit is actually more expensive here. One more con I would like to talk about is the housing situation. It was kind of difficult. To get your own apartment, you need a guarantor or a guarantor. And that person needs to sign on your behalf, and they kind of cover, they need to pay some money to cover in case you can't. So if you miss a month of rent, that guarantor pays for you. So you need to know someone here, or there's a company you can pay and they'll do it for you, but you have to pay all these extra fees. The workaround option is the share house, which is where I am now. I'm living with 100 people in a 5-story house with like 6 showers, 1 kitchen, maybe 8 bathrooms, and a like really terrible gym. The price is really good though. I could never get a price like this in Canada. It's about $680 Canadian a month. You're living with 100 other people, so there's going to be noises, there's going to be sounds, and you're basically sharing everything. So the cost is good, but you're also sacrificing a lot of your own privacy. But I'll give a pro to the share house as well. It's great to meet people. In Canada, I don't know, I found it kind of hard to meet people from all over the world. It was mostly Indian and Chinese people coming to Canada, some Japanese and Korean, but it was mostly those 4 countries. So now to meet all these European people in Japan, I've met tons of Italian people and French people, and just people that I never thought I could meet in Canada. You don't see them. So I'm gonna have another cocaine ball here. Another pro for Japan would be the no tipping culture. This is amazing. I can go out to dinner, see my receipt, see exactly how much I have to pay that exact amount, and get out of there. I don't have to worry about the tip. I don't have to worry about how good the service was. This was huge for me. I hate tipping culture now. I don't know if I can go back to it, especially because like the price of a ramen in Canada is triple the price of ramen in Japan. Like once you include the tax and tip, it's triple the price. So those are some simple pros and cons after 1 month of living in Japan. Some other things I want to talk about are opening a bank account. So if you're planning to move to Japan, one of the hardest things I found, I haven't even done it yet, is open a bank account. Because all the banks here are in Japanese, of course. I speak a little bit of Japanese, so it's possible for me to do it. There's some restrictions. Typically, Japanese banks require you to have a stamp, which would mean I would have to go to a stamp store, pay like Canadian $60, get a stamp of my name, and then go to the bank and be able to stamp that. Also, a lot of banks here don't even allow you to open up a bank account unless you've been in the country for 6 months. So for me, I've been here for 1 month. And I can't find any banks. That's a lie. I can find some banks that'll let me, but it's way harder than I expected. Why can't all banks just be so easy? But yeah, so you need the stamp. You sometimes need to work or employment. For me, I have school. And you need to be able to preferably communicate in Japanese. It's not just like, I don't know, I feel like in Canada, you can sign up for a bank just on an app. Like my bank that I worked for, you could just sign up on the app. You could submit your ID, your passport, and sign up. And it was so easy. You didn't have to talk to anyone. Another thing I think I want to talk about, I'm not too sure yet, but I have an idea, is the dating culture here is very hard.
Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob! SpongeBob, careful! Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob!
The girls I met that can't speak English, I feel like they were so interested in trying to learn English, and I could try to speak Japanese as well. So those dates were awesome. But the dates I went out with, the girls who either like lived in America or lived abroad and can speak fluent English, I don't know why, but those dates were very difficult. Like I feel like they had higher expectations, and it never worked out. They always expected me to be something that I'm not. And one of the things that I noticed in Japan is the confession culture. This is where, in Canada and America, I think we don't have it, but that's kind of where after 3 dates, you ask someone to be your girlfriend or boyfriend. You kind of confirm the relationship. And in Canada, we'd never do that. It's like you can go for months of seeing someone like every weekend. And yeah, you don't even know if you're in a relationship or not, but both of you kind of like assume you are, but you still have that chance to back out. Because it's still so early. Like maybe you're seeing someone for 2 or 3 months and you start to realize you don't like them as much. Well, you don't need to end the relationship now because you're not in a relationship yet. So it's a little bit easier to back out of those situations. Whereas in Japan, after like the 3rd day, they're expecting you to be in a relationship. I think next up would be the English level of people. I'm staying in Tokyo and most people don't speak English here, which is okay for me because I speak enough Japanese to get around. I can order food, I can ask for the washroom, I can ask for directions, I can meet and greet people and carry a very basic conversation, which is enough for me for now. But if you're if you're planning to move to Japan and you don't speak any Japanese, you're going to be in trouble. I have classmates that moved here and they don't speak enough Japanese and they are struggling. So just be aware of that. Just keep that in the back of your mind that if you're planning to move here, really, really practice the fundamentals first. Get hiragana and katakana down before even thinking of arriving here. So Next up, I want to talk about the work culture, but I haven't worked yet. So that's going to be for a future video. I am in a Japanese language school right now, and then I'm going to be looking for work in the next month. Until then, the only thing keeping me alive is this channel. So if you want to support this channel, I would appreciate it a lot. I don't have a Patreon. I don't have anything else. It's really just this channel. So every like and subscribe really boosts the video and helps me survive until I can get a job in Japan. I have some interesting Japanese content, of course, the Japanese singer, Miki, and I also am working on a video about Yakuza. So if that's interesting to you, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time. All right, thank you. Bye.